When they talk to each other, my parents never call me by name. They refer to me as the madman, the mad son, and the one oh, they refer to me as the one who lives upstairs. I realize that at the basis of the contempt they have always harbored towards me, there is an unshakable prejudice towards different people who are unable to fit into the organizational scheme of a contemporary society. Everyone in this complex mosaic of the contemporary world has a fixed, got a fixed place. We are born, we grow up, we work to give our contribution to the community, and finally we die. There is nothing simple and at the same time hard to accept, especially for a person like me, who has always been disgusted by a meaningless life made only to consume and produce up to wear out among the gears of the system. Sometimes it annoys me that the world calls me crazy, but now I can only tell myself I'm proud, because I would prefer to be crazy 1,000 times than a human being without a purpose in life, without dignity, without an ability of soul. The role I played in this world of community is entirely dedicated to progress. The role I play in this world community, entirely dedicated to progress and social views, makes me an outsider who, from the limits of the community, observes its fragile balances, fractured points, stupidity, and errors and mistakes. If I had shown myself an opponent, an opposition, certainly I would have been crushed. If I had tried to fight this superficiality, all the mistake I see in the world, certainly I would have been crushed by the vast majority and interested uh, for the vast majority who is interested in not being torn from the scepter of the guardian of morality. Instead, as a madman, I can live my life in an absolute independence and without anyone bothering to annoy me or force me to follow the dominant current, managing to devote myself to my work for the future progress of humanity in the right direction. What's wrong with crazy people? Why is everyone afraid of them? Without a doubt, because their gestures and their words are almost never mediated by that behavioral code experienced by society over the course of millennia. The insane insult, the madman insult, they attack, they laugh for nothing, they criticize and force the dead souls to rekindle themselves if just to defend themselves from that kind of incarnation of the devil, who is the snickering madman. The madman must be left alone for a kind of tacit, shameful superstition that pushes the normal man to run away from any contact with people he considers less worthy of him. This is what happens to me with my parents, for example. They always put a wall between me and them, and not only figuratively. I have learned to be alone, and I no longer suffer from loneliness, since I have filled my days with other hobbies. I keep the label of crazy with proud, because thanks to it, the outside world is no longer uncertain whether to attack or marginalize me. I myself was shocked when, once recognized by the world as an invalid, the company the state my nation awarded me a small subsidy as long as I did not disturb society with my presence and relieved my parents of part of the burden of supporting me. But it is precisely this difficulty um, that makes mm, us more comfortable and free from the spotlight of the world. And this is precisely this mm, talent that makes the madman the perfect model for guiding the spirit of people in their technological, cultural, moral advancement. In fact, if humanity got rid of all the of all the depressed people, of all the schizophrenic and the sociopaths, they would find themselves the world would find itself before deprived of the salt of its land, the pride of that inventive part that allowed a flock of sheep to bleat in spacious university classrooms, guided by the light of their genius. Without the madman, the world would never evolve because they are the leaders of the world, the leader of these sheep, the leader of these sheep who cannot even be able to guide themselves along the paths of the world. In short, I am increasingly certain that the different, the mentally ill, and the one suffering from nervous phobias, discrimination, is the ideal human being to represent the spirit of an entire era. In fact, all the energy of his bizarre and risky intellectual paths is needed to shake a social system now hooked and subjugated by itself by mistakes and yokes from its yokes. I am also a man, I am also a child who has the only dream of being able to transmit the truth that I glimpsed within me to the world through the contemplation of the intersection between past, present, and future. If one does not break the bridle and chains and one is judged as man, all the others cannot act as a guide. We cannot even afford to take it out on the world around us, because in this world, people would react and immediately identify their guilty denigrators, annihilating them with the weight of their majority of sheep. Um, so we cannot afford to be declared um, uh, fighters of all hypocrisy of the world. It's better to be declared crazy people, because if we fight against majority, we got the risk of being beaten and destroyed. So it's better to announce our truths to the world, being called crazy people. We are more protected this way. For this, I thank my parents today for calling me crazy, for making me be be born as a crazy person. And I hope that none of you should ever be ashamed of being different from what your family or friends would like you to be. So see you soon, and thank you for your support.